What if your AI coding assistant could actually understand your entire code base, run terminal commands, and fix bugs? Now, it's not going to do everything magically for you, but there's a lot of power in this, and I really want to show you some cool stuff here. So imagine building a C# MCP server that gives GitHub Copilot the ability to perform tasks that were previously impossible. It'll search through your code, refactor across multiple lines, even analyze your database schema. Now, this isn't some far-off technology. Microsoft's Model Context Protocol, or MCP, is here today. And I want to show you some real code on how to build your own custom C# server and transform Copilot from a mere suggestion tool into a true AI coding partner. Now, if you're ready to supercharge your development work, we give you all the code samples for free here. So those of you who think I don't know what I'm talking about, let me dive into the code with you today, and we're going to dive in. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we train software developers and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so today I'm going to show you how to build a custom C# server using Microsoft's Model Context Protocol libraries that will give you GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code, and it'll give you superpowers to help you code faster and also better. Now, this isn't just theoretical. You can actually start to build out AI agents, and I'm going to give you the code sample totally for free. Now, the Model Context Protocol is an open standard that gives AI models a standardized way to interact with external tools, data sources, and services. So think of MCP as a universal connector between AI assistants and the real world. It creates a common language for AI to access and manipulate external resources. And Microsoft has finally embraced MCP, incorporating it into Visual Studio Code, VS Code's GitHub Copilot. It also works with Visual Studios, but today I'm going to show you on VS Code. And this allows agent mode to access tools that will extend beyond what was previously possible. So unlike simple API suggestions, MCP enables you true agentic workflows where the AI can take actions and analyze results. So the real power comes when you build custom MCP servers that expose functionality specific to your development needs or to your tech stack. So by standardizing these connections, MCP eliminates the M times N problem, where you need to custom integrations between each AI model and each tool or data source. So without MCP, GitHub Copilot is limited to generating code suggestions based only on the files you have open in your editor. With MCP, Copilot in agent mode can access your entire code base, run a terminal command, and search documentation, and even analyze external systems. Now, this gets really powerful because you can actually start to implement things inside of your organization to be able to build agents that can run routine tasks inside of your company. And I'm going to give you the free code samples today. So let's dive in here a little bit and get the samples up here. All right, now I always make sure that I give you the code sample, so check out the link down below. So in the code sample here, and as you can see, this is number 247 code samples. So if you haven't gone back and read some of our other previous code samples, I have hundreds of code samples with videos to go along with them. So tons of free code samples. I give them to you all for free because here at Startup Hack, we love training software developers. Now, we're going to go through the code here, and I'm going to go through it in Visual Studio, but this gives you the README gives you a really quick write-up, right? So the echo tools is a simple echo and reverse functionality. Monkey tools will fetch monkey data from a remote API. Now, this is just an example. Monkey data is probably not really all that useful to you, but you could build in anything you want, and I'll show you here. The LLM tools shows you how you can interact with XAI or Grok, as well as a local Ollama for AI capabilities. This is great if you don't want to have a huge AI bill, right? Then also, this file system tools will allow you to list directories, read and write files, and search for content. This is huge. You can now start to read some of your code, start using some of your file services, and then actually use it in here. Now, what you want to do is clone the deposit. If you're going to run Ollama, you want to make sure that's running. And then really the power is in the app settings.json. But let's go ahead and jump right into the code because we've spent enough time talking about this here. So let's dive into some code. I'm probably going to have to move my head here so that you can see some of this. So let me get my head a little bit smaller here so you can see what we're working on here. Now, the real power of this comes in this mcp.json server, right? And you can see the VS Code sees this right away. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop this because I kind of want to show you some of the functionality. So you can actually control a lot of this right from here. Now, as we talked about here, right, we talked about the monkey tools. This is the tools one. Now, the power here comes from this model context protocol.server, right? From there, all you have to do is decorate this with server tool type and then give it the decorations of the server tool, and then I'll give you the description, right, of what you can do. So on each of these, you're going to see a lot of these classes will have these services decorated, right? The server tool type, using the server. You decorate this with here and it'll send a prompt, right? And it knows then what to do. And this is part of how the AI knows how to start to work with your code base, right? So you can actually start to use this to build into code. So in here, we can see that we can actually show where we're going to list directories, right? We can show that we're going to read the context of a file, and then you can start to do things with these files, right? So this becomes really powerful. Now, what you need to do to set this up initially is you're going to want to set this to agent mode. It might be by default, Copilot, it was going to be set to probably ask mode, I think is what it comes out of the box. So you want to set this to agent mode. I like Claude. If you're going to pay for the upgraded Claude service, you can actually add premium models, right? So you can go out and get a bunch of the premium models if you do pay for it. But out of the box, it comes with some pretty powerful stuff here. So we're going to stick with the free ones here. Choose GPT 4.0, 4.1, or Claude Sonnet. And I'm always a big fan of Claude here. So now, if I wanted to do something here, what's interesting is let's add a little bit of tools here. So if I click on the agent mode, or if I click on this here, you notice that automatically it's scanning my code and it sees all the different tools that we've built out for it. So Ask Grok, Ask Ollama, Echo. Again, all this code is totally free for you. Pull it down. You can start to use this to build out some of your own code, right? Read files, write files, etc. So all of this, you can see that already the agent actually recognizes all these, which is pretty cool. So if I say, hey, what kinds of monkeys are in the world, right? And I ask it that. Now it notices, and you notice that it's start here, says, hey, I don't know about this. So it's actually going to start the MCP server for me. Now you notice that this says running, right? Now I worked for a long time to try to get this to work so that you could debug into it. I could not figure out how to do it. So if you know how to get this to hook into the debugger, hit me up here, because I would love to have somebody show me how to do this, but I couldn't figure out the way to do it. So it comes back and it runs this. Now, how is it doing that? Let's go check out the monkey server here. So it's even telling us that what it's going to do is based on this data, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see here. So you can expand this, and it's actually going to tell us where it went and got that output, right? So it takes the input and where it got this output, and then what that actual raw output looks like, right? So it's getting this. So what that's doing is it's actually hitting this Montegro monkeys.json, right? So it's actually going to pull down all this JSON file, and let's go take a look at that file so we can see. You can see here where it's actually pulling this data from. So here you can see there's a lot of different information about monkeys, right? And so all the information that the LLM just spit back to us is actually coming from that JSON file, right? So because we gave it this source here where it says, hey, go get all the monkeys, right? And so this is where it's actually pulling that data from and using this data accordingly, right? And so in the monkey tools, we can see that the MCP server calls the get monkeys and then returns this to the LLM, and that's where it's actually getting this to work against this data here, right? So let's try some of our different tools here, and we can show you some of these and how they're working here. So let's say, let me find a good example for a file here really quick. All right, so let's give you something a little more useful now. So now in one of our previous code samples here, in sample 245, we actually show you how to use Ollama to do some data processing against these text files. So I'm going to redo this. So if you want to pull down 245, project number 245 out of that repository, you can as well. Or if you want to go to it, because if you pull down the whole repository. But if you take a look at these files now here, so what I did is I clicked into the file system tools here, right? And this is some of our server tools, says head list all the directories, right? So what I'm going to tell it to do is I'm going to say, hey, please give me a summary of all of the files in this directory, okay? Now, I'm going to then just paste in, because I'm too lazy to type that, and I pasted that in, right? So I'm going to let this run. Now, the first thing it's going to do here is it's going to come back and it's going to say, hey, I'll help you summarize these files. Let me use the list directory too. So you notice that already it's asking to use the list directory. So let's close this one here. So it's going to go through the list directory. Then it's going to go through and ask to read the files, right? So I say, go ahead and, I give it permission because it is accessing my computer. So if you run this code in real time, or if you code against this, so you notice that it gave each of the files, says, hey, this is the directories, right? Now that didn't really give me a summary. So that wasn't exactly what I asked for. So again, sometimes, as we all know with using AI with some of these prompts, but let's try that again. So Okay, now give me a summary of each of these files. Now, so it's just listed all of them. And now it should read the contents of the file it provided for me. Now before, and so it sees like, because it is reading the content of the file, it says, hey, this could be malicious. So like, it's going to ask me for permission for each one of these, but it's going to go through and then read these files out, which is pretty crazy, right? Like before, to be able to do this would have taken a crazy amount of coding. Now, but not only is it going to read them, it's actually going to process them. Now notice it's running against Claude Sonnet right here, but it's going to read these, and then it says, here's the summary of each of the files. Now it's right? It contains, this is actually the data that is in these files. So it's going to give the financial report, the research paper, as we can see here, financial report, research paper, and tech report. So we open up the tech report because I'm old school and I still use Sublime Text. We can see that is actually that file, right? So this is pretty amazing. Like, this is pretty impressive that it can do all of that. So this is just some of the examples of how it's using MCP server to be able to write against some of these tools. And again, these code samples are out there for free, so make sure you go and grab these. Here at Starter Pack, we love to train software developers and as well as to build custom software solutions. So if you're looking for some custom software, reach out to us, because now that we've built these tools, we can let them connect to MCP servers in real time. We can actually build AI agents. So we can, there's a lot of practical examples of how we can use these tools to transform GitHub Copilot or any of our LLMs, right? So this can be done with Ollama. If you don't want to use GitHub Copilot, you can do a lot of different things and plug these MCPs into them, right? So all of this works together so that we can, and that's what MCP is really amazing for. It's kind of the USB-C of the connecting these LLMs into various different things. Now, what are your thoughts? Are there things you'd like to see me code up for you guys here? Let me know. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as build custom software solutions for companies. And here's some information about our great services.
Hi, my name is Spencer Thomason, and I'm a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products. So what is a fractional CTO? This is where you can contract someone like myself to come into your organization and get the benefits of a seasoned CTO without having to employ me full time. In today's fast-paced world, efficiency, security, and product scaling aren't just goals, they're necessities. My passion is building impactful products and enhancing organizational efficiencies through technology. From startups to small businesses, my approach leverages lean methodologies to not just meet but exceed your strategic goals. Whether it's through executive mentoring, cloud system architecture, or launching a minimum viable product swiftly, my aim is to make a significant impact right from the start. Recognized in the Arizona startup ecosystem, my journey has been about creating value and fostering innovation. I have led technology for companies like GoDaddy, SRP, and Wells Fargo and turned challenges into milestones. I've taken this learning and launched 7 of my own brands, and now I want to help you. So if you're looking for a fractional CTO who brings a wealth of experience, strategic vision, and a proven track record, let's connect. Together we can build technology that not only drives your business forward, but also makes a difference. Technology leadership redefined to fit your needs. So reach out today.